My name is Goran Musinovic, and I'm an attorney. I graduated from University of Tennessee, both for undergrad and law school. I immigrated from Bosnia to the United States in 1995. I was about 11 and a half years old, and I came with my family. In 1991, the war started, the Bosnian Civil War. And in 1992, my mom, sister, and I were forced to escape from Bosnia. My dad was not able to leave because men just weren't allowed to leave the city. We lived as refugees in Serbia for about 3 years, and an opportunity arose where Dad and my mom's sister and I could reunite in America. We were separated from my dad, which was hard, as you can imagine. My family has always been very close. Life in Sarajevo before the war was actually had a really good life. Sarajevo, like I said, it was the capital of Bosnia, and it was one of the major cities in the country of Yugoslavia. It was a very cultural city. I was born in a very good and prominent family, one might say. My mom was an attorney. My dad was a CFO of a very big company. My grandfather was a colonel and a very, very educated man. He had 2 university degrees following World War II, which was not common following the war. My other grandfather had done well in business. So I had a very good life growing up. You know, our summers would be spent going to our beach house in Croatia, which at the time was also part of, all of it was the same country, part of Yugoslavia. So it was a great childhood, you know. I mean, I had a lot of friends. We would take vacations on the Adriatic Sea. Sarajevo hosted the Winter Olympics in 1984, so the whole city is surrounded by mountains where, you know, you could go ski, and it was just a very, very good life. I mean, it was perfect back then, you know, until the war happened. So it's very difficult once you have such a nice life. I mean, you know, you're in a higher part of the society over there, and you're kind of enjoying all that life has to offer. So it's kind of hard when you lose dad. You basically go from having dad to, you know, when you're a refugee, you know, whether you like it or not, you end up kind of being the bottom of the society wherever you're at, because you're no longer in your home. Some of the things you know, it would be easy to take some things for granted, you know, being able to take vacations, being able to have any food you want whenever you want it. You know, being a refugee, obviously it shatters you in the beginning, but at the same time, it kind of opens up your eyes and makes you more appreciative of what you had, and kind of gives you a drive to get back to where you were. Probably my best impression of what the U.S. would be like would be from Beverly Hills 90210. After I came to the United States and realized that it wasn't 90210 and that you had to work to get all these benefits, and one of the best ways to get that was through school. You know, I realized that as soon as I started school, I realized that my future would depend on me doing well and excelling in school. And, you know, so from the very first day I started, you know, I hit the ground running and tried to learn English as fast as I could, and it went on from there. I went to middle school, and it was kind of funny because in middle school in 6th grade I didn't speak, you know, I was in ESL, but I actually won the award as the best student in English in the whole school. The hardest thing to adapt to in the United States, you know, transforming from being a Yugoslavian to becoming an American. And I think a lot of immigrants, they were still living in the past. And my parents had, you know, the foresight to know that that life was over. You know, there was a war, and that war would change it would never bring back Yugoslavia as it was. And they did a real good job of saying, you know, we're here, this is now, and the best way to survive and enjoy the country was to become American in many ways. Now I live in Atlanta with my wife, Sheena. We live in Atlanta where I work for a law firm. And in many ways, my motivation was to get back to where my family was before the war, and then use that as, you know, the starting point, basically where we left off, and just kind of go from there. My life's perfect. I mean, you know, there was a lot of hard work that went into it, but I feel as if, you know, I came back to where we were before the war, and basically I'm moving on from there. If I'd stayed in Bosnia after the war, I don't think I would have had nearly as many opportunities as I do here. Any time a country's recovering from war, it takes years, decades, maybe sometimes even a century for it to kind of rebound back to where it was. If you got your health, if you got, you know, your loved ones to drive you, everything else will take care of itself. My wife and I just bought a house. In a few years, you know, have children, continue progressing in my job, become a partner in the law firm, and, you know, be the best attorney that I can be. Got to keep moving forward. Got to always strive